is Anna and welcome to my knitting channel. Today I have a regular knitting podcast for you where I will cover my works in progress, finished objects and any acquisitions. Let's begin with my finished objects, and I have two today for you to show. It was quite a slow month because I was working on one of my patterns, so all the time was dedicated to that rather just general knitting. So my first finished object is actually what I'm wearing. This is the Maggie cardigan from PetiteKnit that I knitted during the month of March. I modified it slightly. As you could see, I have a long sleeves on this cardigan where the pattern goes for a kind of short, more like a t-shirt version, but where I live that wouldn't be very useful for me, so I decided to change and go for longer sleeves. Now let me tell you a bit about the construction of this garment. So it's knitted top down. First you work on the back panel of the garment, then you pick up stitches for the front, you shape the neck, you join everything together with the sleeve cap, you work increases for the back, sleeves, etc. You work back and forth until you reach the underarms area, and then you split as usual for sleeves and continue knitting flat all the way till the bottom, and then the sleeves are knitted in the round. Another slight modification I did to sleeves, I actually changed the rhythm of the creases that recommended in the pattern, so I was doing the increases way less often than they recommended because I didn't want to end up with too tight sleeves at the end. I like my sleeves to be slightly on a looser side. So that's another little modification I done it. And the one kind of biggest modification I did to the whole garment is the button band. The pattern calls for 1x1 rib, but I'm not the big fan how the 1x1 rib looked in this yarn, and I decided to go for the double band that I have knitted before in another PetiteKnit pattern called Champagne Cardigan, and I really like how it looks, so I decided opted for that, and I just added the buttons at the end. I will do the close-ups for you a little bit later and insert here so you could see how the button band and the whole garment looks as a whole when I'm wearing it. But let me tell you a little bit about the yarn now. So I used not what recommended in the pattern. The pattern calls for Cardiff cashmere, and I decided to opt for something different, and I used Mod Adrovan alpaca cotton. This is 57% alpaca and 43% cotton blend, so it's like a cotton thread that is wrapped in a fluff kind of brushed a bit alpaca fibers, and this ball is 25 grams and it is 120 meters in a ball. I have color Eclipse, which is number, I'm not sure if they have a number. Yes, they do. It's shade number 11 and it's called Eclipse, which is very beautiful deep blue. The cotton thread is slightly lighter, so it gives this like beautiful light bluish shine to the whole fabric. And I knitted on the recommended needles as per the pattern. If I remember correctly, it's 3mm needles. And I hit the gauge with this yarn, no problem on the needles, and knitted as I mentioned before, top down, and overall I'm very pleased with this garment. I think it's very light. The whole garment weighed only 220 grams without the buttons, just the yarn part, so it's very light. For me personally, it's not an itchy yarn. I deal well with alpaca fibers and I don't find them scratchy or itchy or anything like that. I absolutely love this cardigan because it's very light and it's so easy to throw it on a t-shirt or a tank top or something, and because it's so light and airy and everything, it's very easy to put it with you in a bag. For example, if you have to leave a house in the morning where it's still chilly, or you throw it on you wear it on, and then later on the day you just take it off, fold it and leave it in your bag, and then that evening again, if you need it again, pick it up. So I'm really pleased with this garment, except for one little part that kind of common with other people who needed this cardigan. I've seen it over hourly multiple times, is the button band. I don't know if you could see in the camera, but the buttons kind of like don't stay very well, and there's like gaps in here that opens up as you move. Like the moment I put it on, I kind of adjust and everything fits fine, but the moment I start moving a bit with my body, it slightly opens up. And now I'm wearing dark top underneath, so you cannot really see much, but for example, if I wear something lighter underneath, like a white top, like you could see those wide gaps appearing here, which doesn't look very nice if you want to keep your buttons closed. But of course, if you're wearing it with the cardigan opened and then use the buttons. It doesn't matter, but in case when you want to go for something like this, it's a bit, I'm not sure how to modify it to fix this error. I try to put the buttons slightly like more overlapping, one on top, like the button band overlapping with the other side of the button band, but I'm still not exactly happy how it turned out, and I could see on Ravelry many people struggle with the same issue. So I guess it's the fabric maybe, or if you have any ideas or any recommendation, please leave me a comment, because I'm not a big fan. It's not extremely bothering me, but it's something that is there and kind of annoys me a little bit, and I would love to fix it if it's something easy enough to fix it. So yeah, that was my first and the only garment that I made it in March. As I said, the month wasn't very busy for knitting, but let me show you what I have next. If you're following me on Instagram, you may know that I created and participating in a sock challenge where we use the leftover yarn, and I called it the Leftover Sock Club. So the idea of the challenge is to knit a pair of socks each month using the leftovers we have in our cupboards, because there's so much yarn. For example, personally speaking, I have that's still very beautiful. I still have good amounts of it, and I just want to give it a second life and not sit it in my chest of drawers forever and ever. That's why I decided to start that challenge, and a lot of people participating with me in it. If you want to join, there is no restrictions, no really rules or anything, and I have it all the details in the first pinned post on my Instagram page. The link I will leave it down below. And yeah, so as I mentioned, each month we need a pair of socks from the leftovers, and we have a prompt for each month, mostly based on some color. You don't have to follow, because as I said, stress-free and easy challenge, so you could knit whichever color you like, but if you like to participate in the prompt as well, you could go ahead. I try to follow the prompts every month, and for example in March we was knitting something pink, and I have my pink pairs here. Let me tell you a bit about the construction of the socks. So most of my socks knitted top down, but this time I decided to go toes up, because I had only 28 grams of this multicolored yarn, which is, by the way, is hand-dyed yarn from a store called PetiteKnit. They're based in Germany, and they hand-dyed yarn. And the base I have is 50% wool, 25% cotton, and 25% polyamide. It is 416 meters over 100 grams. I had the skein before, and I knitted a pair of socks that I designed called jelly bean socks, and the leftover of 28 grams I wanted to use it up, so I decided to use in this pair. That's why I knitted from the toes up, to use it to the zero, how long it allows me to knit up. And the second yarn I paired is the pink one here, is very similar blend. It's Lana Grossa sock yarn called Cotton Bamboo, and it has like 40% cotton, I think 20% wool, a little, I think 20% of bamboo fibers, and leftover is polyamide and polyester. I attach all the details here for you anyways. So because they both kind of have a cotton mostly base, I decided to combine them together, and they go so well together as well. I was knitting this time 2 socks at a time, toe up, as I said, and it was a nightmare. I never want to knit 2 pairs at the same time when I have 4 balls of yarn in the process, and even worse of that, I was knitting from in and out of the ball at the same time, so the ball itself was tangling because it was pulled from both sides, from inside and outside, and it was 2 balls like that. So I don't know how many, maybe like at this age level, I had to separate the ball into 2 separate balls, so at least then I could manually unravel the mess that was creating from those like threads as I pulled them for knitting. So I said for myself, I'm never knitting again 2 socks at a time with a lot of yarn at the same time. So I love knitting toe up. I really enjoy the toe up knitting. I worked well how I designed the increases for the toes. Then the heel as well, it's done in the round, there is increases, there is short rows. I will do the close-ups for you as well, and the ending is very elastic bind off and 3x1 ribbing at the end. So I was thinking to design a pattern for this pair of socks when you could knit socks from toes up and use any yarn you like and stuff like that. So please let me know in the comments if that would be useful for you, because I know there's so many already patterns up there that I don't know if my pattern will make any difference. But if you're interested in this heel or this toe increases, then please leave me a message or a comment below. This is my finished project number 2 and it weighs only 72 grams. Well, someone may say it's a lot, but it's actually a very long pair for me. Usually I'm knitting way shorter calf than this, but I'm really pleased how they turned out. I used the colorful yarn, the multicolored yarn to a 0, nothing left. I just had literally enough to weave in the ends. And the pink one, I still have a little bit left, so I might use it in some other pair later on and combine with something else. But that's all my finished projects for March. I don't have many finished projects in March, but I have a lot of works in progress. Let's dive in, shall we? I want to start with something that was taking a lot of time from me during the March and is my own pattern that I'm currently working on. It's actually now in a test knit and will be released in April. And it's a pair of socks that called Aymara Socks. It's a top-down construction with very interesting heel and knitted in the round with increases, short rows, and then it also features a simple cable design along the whole sock, front and back. Also no, this is just finished sock. It's actually not washed and blocked. I'm just showing you on a blocker for better view, because I have my second one here on my needles as well at the moment. I'm test knitting her together with the group at the same time. This is my second pair. The first pair I knitted back in February, I think. I'll show a picture here so you know what I'm talking about. But yeah, this is my second sock and this is how far I'm in. I'm just working on a calf at the moment. Still have a bit to go, but yeah, I'm knitting in this beautiful white color and it's actually very new yarn. It's very unusual yarn for me for knitting socks because it comes in a cone. It's the first time I'm knitting socks with a yarn from a cone, and it's actually special sock yarn. It's sock yarn from Wolle Halle. It's an online store in Germany. I got this yarn from them. They have multiple colors, but it's very standard. I think it's 75-25 polyamide wool combination, so very usual sock yarn combination. It's just very interesting. It comes on 200 grams ball, so I think I will make it 3 pairs out of whole cone, if not more. But yeah, that's project number 1. Oops, my own design that I will be releasing in April. The planned date is 16th of April, and if you're watching this later on, the link to that pattern might be already in the description, but if you're watching early, thank you by the way for watching. And yeah, when it's out I will add the link in the description, and of course you could find my pattern and some other patterns I already released on my Ravelry page, will a link below as well. Now let's move to something bright and colorful on my needles at the moment. You will notice that the only kind of bright project at the moment on my needles, and it is Ivy Blouse by PetiteKnit. I'm knitting in this bright green, fresh green, I don't even know how to call it, but very beautiful color. I saw so many versions of not just this blouse but other garments made in this color, and I was like, okay, I need one as well. So I'm knitting one for myself. The camera kind of changes the color. You see it a bit more brighter green than it is. It's more like a kiwi, fresh apple green color. But yeah, so it is a PetiteKnit pattern, and it's her Ivy blouse that's knitted top down with mock saddle shoulders, and then kind of that transforms in normal raglan. And I'm at the stage where I just separated for sleeves. I literally needed like 1 centimeter after separation, so I'm at very kind of beginning. So I have a lot of stockinette to work down for the body, and then sleeves. It's very basic design, but I really like it. Has very kind of like tight and feminine look to it. I actually knitted her sweater version of Ivy back in January, I think, or maybe December. So yeah, I just never got a chance to show it here, but you could see it on my Instagram. And back then when I was working on that project, I wasn't sure if I even will like it, because I usually wear everything quite oversized, or at least some kind of positive ease around the chest and body in general, and this pattern calls I think like for 5 or something centimeters of positive ease, so it's quite snug around you, and I wasn't sure if I will actually wear it. And today is one of my favorite sweaters. That's why I decided to cast on mohair version, the blouse version of this design. Let me tell you a bit about yarn. I have it here, but actually forgot to grab the labels, so I will have to insert more information here and in the description below, because I don't have a label to read exact. But this is Kremke yarn, and this is their new cotton kit. This is like a alternative to the regular mohair silk blends. Instead of silk they use cotton and then mohair wrapped around that cotton thread. It's very soft yarn. I don't feel any itchiness or any prickling. You don't really feel much of a difference with silk. One noticeable thing for me personally, the cotton thread I think takes dye way better than the silk thread, so overall color of the thread is more even. If you worked with silk mohair before, sometimes you could see that the thread is kind of shiny and stand out a lot. It's not the same color, kind of like the fluff the mohair has. So in this yarn, at least in my color, it's not so noticeable, and the same in the garment. You don't see that kind of like whitish shine as much, so it's more like blended and all like even, if you could call it. I don't remember exact content. I think it's something similar to like 70 mohair and 30 cotton, but I'll leave it just here for you on the screen. Exact details of this yarn and the color. It's I think it's fresh green in the palette, but I will leave all the information on the screen at the moment. But yeah, I'm really happy with the yarn and the design. I haven't tried it on yet, which I should do. This is my work in progress number 2 bright and spring appropriate ivy blouse. Now my most recent cast on at the moment, let me show you. Maybe you already could see the stitch definition, the pattern, and you actually could guess it what it is, but it is Ingrid Sweater by PetiteKnit. I just realized this pattern is very heavy on PetiteKnit patterns 3. Okay, yeah, I love PetiteKnit patterns, what can I say? Guilty. But yeah, that's her Ingrid Sweater that I actually had it on my wish list for very long, and I finally got the cast on now after, I don't know, 2 years or something. And I'm knitting size M in this, but it looks huge. I hit the gauge and I did the swatch and I hit the gauge, but it looks huge, but I assume because it's quite oversized and quite loose it should be fine. But I'm only at the start of the back panel. I still have like maybe 10 centimeters more to go, like a different motif repeat to go before finishing with the back and the underarm area, so I still have a lot to go. But let me tell you what yarn I'm using. So for this one, I'm working with 2 threads at a time. One is a coned yarn and one is a normal ball yarn. So the white thread that I'm using on a cone, it's actually really beautiful yarn. It is 80% merino and 20% cashmere, so it's very soft. And it has 300 meters over 100 grams. I have 2 cones like this. This one is like 200 something grams cone, and I have another one of I think another 200-300 grams cone. So I have a bit of that yarn in stash. And this is the yarn from store, as I mentioned before. It's called Knit Voile. They do hand-dyed yarn and also they do Italian cone yarn. I will insert here a little video of the swatch I did. It's just so soft and so fluffy and changes so much. If you haven't never worked with cone yarn, know that when you buy it, it doesn't look very attractive. The moment you wash that swatch or the garment, it blooms crazy. It changes like absolutely amazingly. Like the normal yarn, like in a ball, it already comes like pre-washed, pre-cleaned and all that stuff. Doesn't have any spinning oil on it or anything like that. So when you wash the garment, it's not like it's changes, the stitches like opens up a bit and everything, but it's not the same kind of dramatic change as it comes with a cone yarn. So I'm using this, and right now my fabric looks a bit loosey. I think you might see it through the camera that it's slightly loose and stuff, but after the wash I know it will change because I did swatch it. I'm not just casting on, I actually did swatch it. But the second yarn I'm using, I wanted to add a little bit more and something nice to that merino cashmere blend, and it's a Mohair 21 from Lang Yarns, and this is their 21 micron super kid mohair. It's extremely soft. 21 micron means it's extremely soft, and it has 58% mohair and 42% silk. 25-gram balls has 375 meters. It is quite thinner than the regular mohair because 25 grams ball have 75 meters, sorry. Whereas the usual mohair comes usually in 25-gram balls, and it has around 220 to 125 meters. So this is like significantly thinner. So it's as more elegant, more delicate, like more less noticeable fluff, but still has some fluff to the fabric. I'm really happy to have something textured on my needles because I had this cardigan before where it was like just back and forth flat stockinette and knitting. Then I have the ivy blouse that is plain stockinette. The sweater before I knitted was a plain stockinette, so I'm happy to have something textured on my needles to kind of keep me going and keep me motivated and interesting, and I hope it will be a nice project. About the needles, I'm knitting on 5mm needles, even though the pattern calls I think for 4.5, but I hit the gauge on 5, and it's actually very hard for me to knit. I think I knitted with 5s only maybe once before, and my hands get very tired. My favorite needles to work is like 3 max to 4, like in that range. So 5 feels very big and bulky on my hands, so I don't know. I do knit a lot on it, but I cannot knit extremely much on it. I get too tired and I feel like I need to swap to another project because I kind of get a bit of cramps, kind of like, and just my hands very tired. So I don't know how long it will take me to knit, but I'm excited about it anyway. So project number 3. Project number 4 is well, how would I call it? Well, it's a very slow one. So I have these 2 balls of Loch Lomond from BC Garn. Well, I have way more in my stash, it's just what I'm showing you now. It's 2 balls of Loch Lomond in 2 separate colors. One is like brownish grey taupe color, I would call it, with like orangey beige specks. And this one, I would call it like oats. Yeah, I would say beige oats, something like that, with slight grey in it as well, and the specks like grey in it. So I have these 2 beautiful yarns and 2 beautiful colors, and what I'm making with it, with that extremely thin thread, it's a sweet shop blanket. I'm knitting a sweet shop blanket with this very thin yarn. Again, I don't remember the meterage, but I leave it here on the screen. I wanted to knit that blanket since I seen it, and I think it calls for like sock leftover yarn, like fingering weight and stuff. I don't have that much yarn that I would love to put like the collars and everything, and I didn't want to buy the yarn, the sock yarn specifically for the blanket or any other fingering. So I decided, what if I use something else? I've worked with Loch Lomond before and I loved it. Like, I love everything that comes about tweed. Like anything tweed, please can I have it? If you know any yarn, tweed yarn, please leave a comment below because I need it all. So I was thinking, okay, I will make it with that. But it's significantly thinner, and I don't know why I decided to start a knit in 1 thread, not hold 2 threads together. So I have to use way smaller needles. I'm knitting it on 3mm needles. And if you know the pattern, you have to go and increase the specific number of stitches to have it there here at the widest part. Well, I had to do 20 more stitches, so I had to increase 20 more stitches in the middle part to reach the same kind of size of the square. So as you could imagine, it's a lot more knitting, a lot more stitches, and that's why it's going very slow. I only have 3 full square and 1 is half done, as you could see. It's a very slow project. I originally wanted to knit as a bed cover for our big bed. We have like a king size bed, And after calculating how long it takes me to knit one square of this and how many squares I need to cover the bed of king size, I decided I'm never gonna finish this project. So I might leave it as a smaller blanket to keep it over my couch or over my chair where I like to knit, and just like a little throw-on blanket type of thing rather than a massive bed cover. And maybe as the time passes I will be adding more and more squares to it. But for the moment it's so slow. I think I started last year and that's how far I got. It just, yeah, it doesn't motivate me to work on it whatsoever. I love how it looks. Like, I absolutely enjoy this colors combination and how they look and everything. And the fabric, it's very nice, it's very soft. I washed only one of the squares as I finished it, and it just opened up so nicely. It looks so well. I just had no effort to knit it, but yeah, it is what it is. And that's my last work in progress for you here today. That's all I'm working during the months, and this is the photo project I'm bringing with me into the April. I actually have no acquisitions to show you this month, as I'm trying to consume less yarn, as I'm trying to buy less yarn and use more of what I have in my stash at the moment, because my stash keeps growing but I don't have enough speed and time to knit it up and use up that yarn. So that's all I have for you today. I hope you enjoyed this podcast. If you did, please give it a like, maybe subscribe if you feel like and want to see more of my videos. I will leave all the information down below in the description box, and of course if you have any questions or anything, please leave me a comment. I will come back to you as soon as I can, and happy knitting. Bye!